welcome to the ServiceNow Star. On today's episode, we're gonna go ahead and cover some important integration in ServiceNow. Today, mainly we're gonna cover the Qualys host detection integration, and this primarily we're gonna talk how you can easily integrate your scanner like Qualys to the ServiceNow environment so that you can get all the cool stuffs. And we will also cover some CI lookup rule versus the IRE. These are identification and reconciliation engine, so which one we need to use and what time. So we'll cover all of that. Stay tuned until the end of this last episode. Today is March the 6th. It's around 7 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. In the studio of ServiceNow Star, I'm Mohammed Rashid Kamal with this episode. Stay tuned. Everyone, again, welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and start in a few seconds. So today is mainly about Qualys. This is a host detection. We're gonna integrate Qualys with ServiceNow environment. We'll talk about all the cool stuff. So stay until the end of this video. Alright, let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, you might be watching this video from around the world. Welcome everyone. At the studio here, I'm Mohammed Rashid Kamal. Like I said, we'll cover a number of important things about the Qualys host detection integration and as well as the CI lookup rule. And we'll also cover the identification and reconciliation engine in ServiceNow. Alright, let's go ahead and talk this important topic here. We know that these days vulnerability or a number of applications that are a number of companies that are using, let's say the web app, almost 76% of the web app, this is according to a study by recent study, yes, it's showing that 76% of web applications they have a known vulnerabilities. What this means that they already have a known vulnerability. So there is a vulnerability there, but that are not yet remediated or action is not taken. So this makes for the hackers very good opportunity for them, to penetrate the environment and do whatever bad stuff they want to do. Now, mainly today, so the cover will talk about how you can install your vulnerability. So this all starts from getting the applications from the application store. So you need to get which environment. So today's topic is primarily about the Qualys, right? So once you get the Qualys integration plugin, once you get it, you're gonna go ahead and download that one and you will install it. So once you install your vulnerability response, you have to verify whether it's successfully installed or not, and that's how you can check is primarily by go ahead and open your modules, right? You're gonna go ahead and open your modules and take a look at your ServiceNow environment. Now, so here there are setups that we need to do, a couple of setups once the plugins are installed. Before we get started using it, once we install the Qualys app, we have to configure it. Some of the things the configuration include, we'll talk in detail later in a moment. Things like you need to schedule the Qualys integration. That means how often you're going to get the data, which is the vulnerability data from your scanner, and pull it to your ServiceNow environment, and those are very important. And also you have to do a query as well. So in your scanner, that means that you don't need to get every data, right? Let's say the risk score of, and you don't need to get everything. If you get like you have a garbage, and it's going to be really tough to manage all of that, so you have to get the data what you need, very important one, and from there you'll be able to work on it. And the other important thing is the assigning vulnerabilities. Assigning vulnerabilities is also another important thing. Once you get those vulnerability into your system, and you have to match it with the CI lookup rule. Once it's get it, CI lookup rule, so your vulnerable item is created in the system, and you have to assign to a group automatically, and from there you go ahead and work on the remediation task. Now I have here so now here in your enterprise environment, you have got the assets, right? Your assets, your different assets. This can be web application that you have, or your configuration items. All of that are your assets. So today we're just gonna go ahead and cover just the higher part of the assets. So you got your assets, and you have your detection vulnerability scanners like your Qualys or Tenable. So once you have that, you will integrate it with your ServiceNow environment. And also the most important thing here is your CMDB. Having an up-to-date CMDB is very important, so that way you can map it, your vulnerability, with your configuration item, and that way you can enrich that data and go ahead and be able to fix it. Now the importance of CMDB is really important, because if you want to do some analysis on your data, for example, how many configuration items are affected with this vulnerability, and also if you want to prioritize one vulnerability to the other one, is also very important. Let's say if you have a configuration item A is impacted by the vulnerability, and if you have another one, configuration item B, you have to prioritize which one need to be remediated first. So that also really important. For those of you who are new to the ServiceNow Star YouTube channel, so go ahead and subscribe. We're gonna continue talking about the vulnerability response, the Qualys integration. Now I'm gonna take you to the ServiceNow platform here, and we'll talk about some of important parts with the Qualys integration. So now once you install your Qualys integration, vulnerability integration plugin, so we'll come here to your application module, you write Qualys, and you have the Qualys vulnerability integration. So under that we have so many things here, right? Some modules here. So we're gonna go ahead and open the overview. So this is gonna give you the overview of your Qualys integration. And the other important module here is the integration run status. So this primarily the integration run status is going to give you whether your integration run in the last couple of in the last 30 days, the Qualys result that's going to show you. So now if we scroll down here, you'll have a dashboard, a bar chart dashboard that's going to show you primarily about your Qualys run. So this is a bar chart here. You have the Qualys host detection that you have, and the Qualys host list, in Qualys knowledge, and the Qualys knowledge. Yeah, basically those two are the Qualys knowledge. So what do you see here in kind of pink red is that all right. So that is really important. And when it comes to the others here, it's going to show you the last 30-day Qualys new vulnerability. If there are any new vulnerability, you can see them here. And the last 30 days of Qualys updated vulnerable item and the Qualys duplicate. So if you have any duplicate, it can also show you. Now the scanner applications also, we can see it here. This is the Qualys default appliance. You have to go ahead and put that default as well. In my case, I do not have here. Now let's go ahead and talk about the administration tab. That's the main thing here, the integration instance, administration. And here what you have is the integration instance specifically for your Qualys cloud platform. What we have here is the Qualys cloud platform. So that is the integration instance. Now here you see that Qualys integration for security operation, it has its own application scope. So we need to go ahead and move to that application scope if we would like to make any change to the application. So that's a very important point here. Because in ServiceNow we don't need to make everything in the global, so there are scopes, there are scoped applications. So Qualys is one of the scoped applications. So now we're gonna go ahead and move to the Qualys integration application scope. Now here the integration instance parameters, so some of the parameters you have to set here. Enabling host detection, you need to add the password value, and also you can set it to either true or false depending on your environment. So if you want to do enabling host detection, scan end time, and that's also can be added here. The maximum delta days, enabling static search. So this is the integration instance parameter. So these are some of the parameters so you have to complete in order to have the correct integration. So here is the enabling KB, which is the knowledge articles that you have. You can also enable, you need to add a password value as well. The KB start, the scan on resolved, all of that can be added here. Alright, so these are some of the parameters, so we need to configure it. Some of the configuration you have to work in team with the Qualys or with the security team, so that's very important as well. So here is the integration, the vulnerability integration that you have. So for example, here's Qualys appliance list integration. So if you want to do the list integration from your Qualys, so you have to set this one to active to true. And you see the Qualys integration is the class, and you can see that when last it was updated, and you can add more field here by clicking the personalized list. You can add more fields as well. Here is the Qualys knowledge base. The Qualys knowledge base now is set to true. So if I go ahead and show match for everything that is active, so I have 4 active integrations right now. So the Qualys knowledge base that I have, the host list integration, the host detection integration, and Qualys knowledge base backfill. So I would always advise to start with some of them, let's say some of them here, not to everything, to every source instance. So you have to start with minimum, and then you can improve down the road as well. So that's best advice I'd like to provide. And here is the Qualys list integration, the host list integration, that's also set to true. So you can go ahead and set it to true and start your integration or getting your vulnerabilities from there. And later on, once you get all of that sorted out, you can go ahead and add more. So in order to integrate Qualys, that's that much simple. So you want to download the plugins. Once you get the plugins, you'll straight come to the administration environment. You have to work on the integration instance. Alright, and you have one here, the integration instance, and from there you can go ahead and work on it. And you might realize that here we have a table name sn sec int impl. That is the table that contain all the integrations. So now if I go ahead and click here all, you will see that these are some of the integrations that I have here in ServiceNow. Primary integrations that you primarily integrated, And also here is a module import set table for Qualys. So it will go ahead and create your import set table, for example, for your host detection list. So it's going to create a knowledge, it's going to create an import set table for your host detection as well. And this is the import set, the Qualys host detection import set table. So that's how you use the transform map to get the data and map it to your ServiceNow instance. And here also the knowledge base import set, the knowledge base import set, and it doesn't this is an import set, so it doesn't contain the data. It's a temporary storage the data, so until you get transformed. The asset group import and the appliance import as well, and host detection pagination import. Now let me take you to the knowledge. I'm going to take you to knowledge base import. Under the knowledge base import, so let's go ahead and click the transform map. So you see that I have the Qualys knowledge base transform. So like I said, the import set tables is not going to capture the data, it's just going to use as a transform map. And here is a table transform map, the Qualys knowledge base, and this was done it was updated in 2016. You can go ahead and open the Qualys knowledge base transform, and you'll see that the source table is here in the target table. So the target table is the third party vulnerability entry, that is the target table. So when you create your transform map, you have to set the source table and the target table. So all of these are set up for you to work on, and it's already set it by out of the box ServiceNow, and you don't need to make any update here unless you want to create your own custom integration. You have the source is active and run business rule, and here you can see we have got the transform script, so on complete. Now if you go ahead and open this is a transform script that it has, and the transform script is getting the data source ID from the import set, the data source, and get the attachment from the data source. So it's came as an attachment. Now if we go to the sys underscore attachment, so now you see that we have sys underscore attachment, that we're creating the glide record sys underscore attachment table, and from there we getting a gr.add query. We adding a query of the table name, the name of the table, and sys underscore data source, right? And we have again another query, table underscore sys underscore id. Yes, so that way you get the attachment data source, and also you find the integration data and gonna go ahead and map it. So that's how you will go ahead and work on your integration. So this is all set for you by ServiceNow, and your work is there. Now let me take you back to the integration run status. So like I said, the integration run status is a quick way of for you to check how many integrations are done so far. And you can see that we have 4 integration: the host detection, the host, the Qualys host list, the knowledge, the Qualys knowledge, and here it's going to show us how many of them are failed and how many of them are empty. And you see that I have one record in each of them, and how many of them are failed. So I have got 3 fail here and 1 success. Yes, this is called a bar chart. So it's a bar chart. So Qualys integration, yes, stats. Now let's go ahead and talk about here in ServiceNow. So now you have your enterprise application, your enterprise environments. You have assets, different configuration items that you have, and from there you have your third-party detection. So you have got your third-party vulnerability scanners. Those are integrated, and what happened here is that when you connect it to your CMDB asset, so it's going to be tied and vulnerable item will be created. So an imported vulnerability must be matched to an existing asset, to your existing configuration item. So that's what happens. So once it is mapped with your vulnerability item, with your configuration item, that's where it's gonna go ahead and map it. So once that is mapped, it will go ahead and link it. Yeah. So the detection records are only opened or closed by the scanner. So you have your scanner. Scanner is the one who's going to decide whether your integration was successfully, your remediation was successfully done or not. So for that, you might do several things. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take you to CI lookup rule. Let's go ahead and talk about the CI lookup rule. So what do CI lookup rule? These are the CI lookup rules are primarily they are found under your security operations. What these do is whenever you have your integration from different your scanner environments, let's go ahead and talk about here Qualys, right? When that vulnerability come, it will come with a configuration item, and that the discovered item, which is the discovered configuration item, will come and take a look at in your CMDB item to see if there is any matching CMDB. If it found a matching CMDB, what it would do is gonna go ahead and map it to that one. So if not found, it's gonna go ahead and create a new CMDB item. So there are a couple of things here to mention that you should always start with your CI lookup rule. So mapping your configuration item to your existing configuration item to your vulnerability. So that's really important. So now let's take a look at the for Qualys. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open here the MAC address. For let's open the MAC address. So this is a tenable.io environment. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about. Let's click the CI lookup rule here, and we're gonna go ahead and open the NetBIOS with a Qualys Cloud Platform. And you can, there are several ways you can create your CI lookup rule. I'm gonna show you some of the type. Here you have your custom. If you wanna create your custom CI lookup rule, you can select the custom, or if you wanna use different CI lookup rule, like for example the IP address and all of that, the DNS, and you can go ahead and apply. So the type is that one. The CI lookup rule method, the method wise, you can use ADR script or field match. Field match means matching the field. Okay. Now, so it has three important parts. The first part is about describing what the name is and lookup method that you're going to apply, and also the type. And the order also matters. Order matters. For example, the lower the order, it will run first, and the higher the order will run last. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at how you can define the source. So the source is very important. Here is the Qualys. It will automatically get that, and the source field also important, which is the NetBIOS in this case. Now, condition, we set it to all condition will work here. We didn't put any condition here because we want to make sure that this is it's a script. So primarily we're gonna define everything in the script here. Now let's go ahead and make this CI lookup rule script a little bit bigger, and you'll see that it has some description. So this Qualys match function checks if the query return 0 more than 1. Now, so we have a function here, process, we have role, source value, and source payload. The source field it will ignore if we put any of these property. Let's say in your SN6 CMN ignore class, so you will ignore some of the class. That means it is not a configuration item, it's a class. If you put it in your ignore class, so the Qualys, when it try to map, it's gonna go ahead and ignore that one, and it's gonna map it for you by the CMDB CI. So this is some of the defaults. All right, let's move on. So this is the CI lookup rule that you can apply to your environment. This is the out of the box, so you don't need to, it's purposely made to be read only. You don't need to make any change to it, but if you like to create your own custom one, you can do so by doing your work. Hey everyone, we are back to the studio. Now let's go ahead and take a look at here how you can do the IRE, which is identification and reconciliation. So the other way of you can prevent, let's say in your CMDB you don't want some of the scanners. Like a good example is the vulnerability scanners, because they're gonna create a CMDB item if they couldn't find any CMDB item in your system, and if there is a vulnerability, so they will create unmatched, they put it in an unmatched CI class, but that will be created. Now the other important thing here is if you don't have a very good CI lookup rule, those unmatched CIs will be created, and how can you control your CMDB? So this is something you need to work with a configuration team, CMDB manager, so you have to work with that one, so which way you need to do it. So here is the IRE data source rule. So you'll set some rules here, and the rule is gonna really prevent any of those third-party applications like the scanners not to create or insert data into your configuration item. So what you need to do here is you will go ahead and check the insert not allowed. So that means any data insertion is not allowed to a given table. So here is applies to is primarily in this case we're gonna go ahead and select your CMDB CI table. So if you write the CMDB CI, and here is a tips and trick also, if you put this square curly brace, so it's gonna remove everything and it will end it for you. So now you have like that. There's a lot of things that has CMDB underscore CI, but once I put this, it's gonna put me just the configuration item. Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply that one. Is what are the data source? So data source that are in my instance right now, I have this many database. I have the import set, health log analytics, event management. So all these are the data source. They have access to your ServiceNow CMDB, and then you have here also the VR Qualys vulnerability, Qualys, and I have vulnerability tunable as well. So all of that, if I don't want Qualys to create a configuration item, I can go ahead and set it here. So by saying that insert is not allowed, so I check the check mark, and I'm gonna put the CMDB CI table here, and I'll put the data source v-Qualys, that's the Qualys integration, and the application will automatically fill up, which is the Qualys integration for the security. I'm gonna go ahead and save this one. So once I saved, whenever I have a VR Qualys run, whenever I have a run instance, so when it's run, it will bring those configuration item in. Whenever it's not finding, it's not gonna go ahead and insert those data. So it doesn't go ahead and let it insert those CMDB items. So that's how you can go ahead and work on IRE, which is your identification and reconciliation engine. That's part of that. So this IRE need to be work hand in hand with your CI lookup rules, because some of them you can try to use. If you have not an updated CMDB, definitely you can go ahead and definitely you will get unmatched CI. So in that instance, those unmatched CIs must be matched with a different rule. So one of the things is that you can go ahead and create or add those configuration item into your instance. That's one way, and the other way is if you don't have that configuration item in your instance, also you can apply different import export functionality to get the same DB items updated into your instance. And at some instance you may also not let other data source like the vulnerability Qualys here or tunable, you don't let it to be insert a data. So you can go ahead and come here in your IRE data source rule, you can apply that. So that's pretty much all about the Qualys integration, and also we have covered the IRE as well and the CI lookup rules. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Mohammed Rashid Kamal, and until we see you on the next episode, make sure you subscribe to get the latest update whenever we're making a live video. And that's all I have. That's all we have. Thank you so much for staying with us. Until next day, have a great day everyone. Bye.